Addiction often serves as a coping mechanism for individuals struggling with overwhelming or shameful circumstances that they find difficult to confront directly. This behavior manifests as escapism, where individuals use substances or engage in distracting activities to avoid facing emotional pain or uncomfortable realities. This video production is part of Liberated Learning's certification program series, offered through Liberated Living. We've made it available to the public so that anyone can benefit from holistic health and wellness education. To explore our programs, continuing education and professional development opportunities, or learn how to become a licensed or board-certified professional, follow the link provided or visit holisticschool.online. Escapism is a symptom of deeper issues, particularly trauma. Addressing the root causes of addiction requires confronting the underlying sources of pain and distress. When individuals repeatedly find themselves making excuses or emotionally reasoning to avoid facing challenges, it can lead to prolonged periods of procrastination and further escalate into addictive behaviors. For example, conflicts between wanting something but feeling undeserving can perpetuate a cycle of avoidance and escapism. Most often, trauma is not our fault. It typically involves a perpetrator or a violation of personal boundaries by someone in a position of authority or trust, such as a parent, neighbor, teacher, coach, church leader, or family member. However, if the resulting wounds are not properly addressed, the impact can last a lifetime. To combat these behaviors, including fear, procrastination, and avoidance triggered by overwhelming situations, preparation and structured planning are key. Developing a game plan and employing holistic approaches to internalize step-by-step execution strategies can help individuals confront challenges methodically. Seeking feedback and support from others can also alleviate feelings of fear and overwhelm, demonstrating strength rather than weakness. Coping. Without proactive strategies to address underlying issues, prolonged escapism can evolve into addiction. Individuals may turn to addictive behaviors as a way to cope with feelings of insecurity or lack of support, often rooted in early experiences of instability or trauma during critical developmental stages. Recognizing these patterns as survival mechanisms linked to imbalances in emotional and physiological responses underscores the importance of holistic approaches to healing. Individuals may exhibit symptoms such as hyperactive or hypoactive behaviors, stemming from unbalanced lower chakras and indicating unresolved trauma or instability in various aspects of life. Trauma can lead to complex coping mechanisms, including addiction and escapism, as individuals seek safety and security through familiar, albeit detrimental, behaviors. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for developing effective treatment strategies that integrate trauma-informed care with addiction recovery efforts. Overcoming escapism and addiction involves addressing underlying trauma, healing emotional scars, and reframing negative beliefs. By implementing structured approaches and seeking support, individuals can break free from cycles of avoidance and reclaim control over their lives. This journey towards healing not only fosters personal growth, but also unlocks the potential for a fulfilling and resilient future. Refer to the 7-step panacea system to address core addictive patterns and transform the presenting problem. Using adaptive behavior to overcome addiction and heal trauma involves cultivating healthier, more effective responses to stress, pain, and difficult emotions. Unlike poor coping mechanisms, e.g., substance use, avoidance, or self-destructive behaviors, adaptive emotional responses, healthy behaviors, help individuals face their challenges head-on, building resilience and emotional regulation over time. The key to healing both addiction and trauma lies in learning to accept and confront the problem with compassion and self-awareness, rather than using temporary fixes to numb the pain. Acknowledge the problem, facing reality with acceptance. The first step in healing addiction and trauma is acknowledging the problem. This can be incredibly difficult, especially when the issues at hand are deeply painful or shame-inducing. But the truth is, denial only perpetuates suffering and hinders recovery. Acceptance doesn't mean resigning oneself to suffering. Rather, it's about recognizing the reality of the situation without judgment. Adaptive behavior in this context looks like radical acceptance, acknowledging that trauma or addiction exists and that it has impacted your life. This doesn't mean agreeing with what happened or that it's fair, but it's accepting that this is your starting point for change. Self-compassion, recognizing that facing the issue is hard and being gentle with yourself throughout the process. Addiction and trauma are deeply intertwined, and healing takes time. Self-compassion helps reduce the shame that often accompanies these struggles. When you accept that you have a problem, you open the door to healing. This is the opposite of psychological and experiential avoidance, which is often the root of many poor coping mechanisms. Avoidance, whether through substance abuse, distractions, or detachment, only allows the problem to fester, causing problems with others and more harm in the long run. Engage in self-reflection, understanding the roots. Once you've accepted the problem, the next step is understanding the roots of your behavior. Why do you turn to addiction or maladaptive coping mechanisms in times of stress? What role did trauma play in shaping these patterns? By exploring the underlying causes, you can better understand the cycle of behavior and begin to break it. Adaptive behaviors for self-reflection include journaling or therapy. Writing about your experiences or speaking with a therapist can help you process emotions and gain insight into the trauma and addiction that have shaped your current behaviors. Mindfulness practices. Meditation or mindful awareness can help you observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. This awareness creates space between stimulus, e.g., stress, triggers, and response, e.g., reaching for a drink, using a substance. Understanding your behavior can be a powerful tool in healing. It allows you to see patterns, recognize triggers, and learn how to respond differently. For example, you might identify that when you feel anxious, a trauma response, you turn to alcohol to numb the feelings. Recognizing this pattern is the first step to disrupting it. Develop healthy coping skills, replacing old patterns. Adaptive coping skills are critical in healing from both addiction and trauma. Rather than resorting to old, ineffective habits like substance use, self-harm, or isolating, adaptive behaviors involve healthier, more productive ways of managing emotions and stress. Some adaptive behaviors include building emotional resilience. Learning to face difficult emotions without trying to escape them is central to overcoming addiction and healing trauma. This might mean sitting with uncomfortable feelings, practicing deep breathing, or finding healthy outlets for stress, e.g., exercise, art, writing. Using problem-solving skills. Instead of resorting to substances or compulsive behaviors when faced with stress, adaptive coping involves approaching problems systematically. Ask yourself, what can I do to address this situation or emotion in a healthy way? This might involve seeking help from others, breaking tasks into smaller steps, or finding practical solutions. Social support. Seeking out and engaging in supportive relationships can be incredibly healing. Instead of withdrawing into isolation or using substances as a crutch, developing strong social connections allows you to express your feelings, share experiences, and receive encouragement. Building adaptive coping mechanisms might require learning new skills and practicing them over time. It's about choosing a healthier path when faced with challenges, and with practice, those new habits will become the default. Confront and process trauma, facing the past instead of numbing. Addiction and trauma are often tightly intertwined. The emotional pain of past experiences can lead individuals to turn to substances or behaviors to numb their feelings. To heal, it's important to confront and process trauma rather than continuing to bury it. Adaptive behavior in this regard includes therapeutic interventions. Working with a trauma-informed therapist can help you process painful memories and emotions in a safe, controlled way. Techniques like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or somatic therapy can help you reframe past trauma and release the emotional energy trapped in the body. Body-based therapies. Since trauma can be stored in the body, therapies like yoga, massage, or acupuncture can help release pent-up emotional tension and help the body heal from physical manifestations of trauma. Expressive therapies. Art, music, or writing can help individuals who may have difficulty talking about their trauma to express themselves in a nonverbal way. These activities can serve as a healthy release for emotions that might otherwise feel overwhelming. By confronting trauma directly, rather than avoiding or numbing it, you are taking back control over your life and healing the root causes of addiction. Rebuilding self-worth, from shame to empowerment. Addiction and trauma often leave deep scars on an individual's sense of self-worth. The cycle of shame can make it feel impossible to break free from unhealthy behaviors. However, healing involves developing a more positive and compassionate relationship with oneself. Adaptive behaviors for rebuilding self-worth include positive self-talk. Replace the inner critic with a compassionate, supportive voice. Remind yourself that healing is a journey and that setbacks don't define you. Practice affirmations or phrases that focus on your worth and strength, setting and achieving small goals. Start with small, manageable goals that promote positive behavior. Achieving these goals boosts self-confidence and reinforces the belief that change is possible. Celebrating progress. Every step toward healing is a victory. Celebrate small wins, whether it's a day of sobriety, attending therapy, or making a healthy choice in a difficult situation. These moments of progress help shift the focus from what's wrong to what's going right. By rebuilding self-worth, you empower yourself to break free from the cycle of addiction and trauma. Adaptive behavior here involves shifting away from self-punishment to self-compassion and self-empowerment, creating a life of meaning and purpose. Lastly, overcoming addiction and healing trauma often requires creating a life that is rich in meaning and purpose. Adaptive behavior here means investing in activities, relationships, and pursuits that bring joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. This might include engaging in passions or hobbies that provide a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. Whether it's painting, volunteering, or learning a new skill, meaningful activities can help replace the need for compulsive behaviors. Building a supportive community. Surrounding yourself with people who share similar goals and values helps create a strong foundation for long-term healing. Support groups, friendships, and family connections can provide the emotional support needed to maintain recovery. Focusing on long-term goals. Set goals that align with your values and passions, and take small, consistent steps toward them. Having something to strive for can give life a sense of direction and motivation, reducing the temptation to engage in destructive behaviors. In summary, overcoming addiction and healing trauma requires learning and adopting adaptive behaviors that address both the emotional pain and the coping mechanisms that have kept those behaviors in place. Accepting the problem, confronting trauma, developing healthy coping skills, and rebuilding self-worth are all key components of this journey. By actively choosing to face challenges with resilience, compassion, and new coping mechanisms, individuals can break free from the cycle of addiction and trauma, ultimately leading to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Each of the powerful healing techniques outlined in this module is taught in our self-healing genetic recoding and Panacea system. To access the Panacea system, click the link or button provided. We hope you gained value today. At Liberated Learning, you can earn an internationally accredited certification for more than 40 holistic wellness programs, with pathways to provider licensing, board certification, and CEU PDUs for continuing education. To explore our full range of programs, follow the link provided or visit holisticschool.online.